Little golden statues have already been handed out, new nominees for next year's ceremony are already being listed, and I finally got around to putting my favorites from last year into a list to share with you guys. These films are not in order of least to most favorite, but instead release date, since I can't really decide certain movies going over others.
Hey, Otto!
No.
A dark comedy drama starring Tom Hanks about a grumpy old man named Otto, and how he plays a role in his neighbors' lives. I didn't know much about the main plot of this movie, so I was quite surprised when early on it becomes clear this is an old man who wants to kill himself. But his new neighbors keep having the best or worst timing depending on your view, and keep him from being able to go through with it. As you learn more about his past and recently deceased wife, it paints the picture that made him the man he is today. The new family that's moved in, their good nature is what slowly breaks down Otto's rough exterior and shows him that maybe there is more to life. While it may seem very hallmarky at times, maybe too sweet and movie-esque, I think it earns those moments with great character dynamics. This movie brought tears to my eyes a couple of times, honestly, and I have to give it credit for that.
My father used to smile like that.
I'm not smart.
Exactly.
We were gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
The finale to another trilogy within the MCU has arrived. How does it stack up? I would easily put the Guardians movies up there with the Captain America trilogy, as the most consistent quality films in the entire series. Volume 3 is the most emotional and darkest of the trilogy, but it's still full of laughs and fun. I'm saying this as of writing this sentence right here. It's currently my favorite movie of the MCU recently, and it's not even close to a competition. Characters are given wonderful send-offs, even if some we may have pictured in different scenarios, until Infinity War and Endgame happened, but James Gunn was able to salvage what story threads he had and crafted new endings to some that fit well enough. Adam Warlock's edition may be the biggest negative I can give to it due to him feeling very shoehorned in, but even that is able to fit the narrative to let it slide by. The soundtrack, like always, fits the scenes that they're set in while also being great songs to listen to on their own. The themes of acceptance and being happy with how things are and not what they used to be or should be is able to be reflected in our heroes. Gunn is able to show the growth of our team in not just experience, but also where they end up at the end of the film. Much like himself moving past Marvel to go to new avenues in life, so do many of the Guardians, finding new callings while others keep the legacy of the group going strong. On top of the great story, the amazing CGI, unique designs, and straight up hateful villain, you have some awesome action sequences, one closer to the end of the film stealing the show, giving the audience a real good look in the chemistry the team has in their combat. I'm interested to see what the future holds for the MCU and what possible returning Guardians will get. James Gunn might not be part of it, so I'm a little hesitant onto doing too much with them, but I'm hopeful continuations don't sour this pretty awesome mix of a trilogy.
There's a word in Korean, inyeon. It means providence or fate.
A romantic drama film about the relationship between two people throughout their lives, starting as children and going on to adulthood. Past lives acts are structured every 12 years, where they run into each other and reflect on who they were, who they are, and who they want to be. I think this film resonates with basically anyone who has watched it. Most adults by a certain age will know or knew a person who they were extremely close with and pictured a future that involved them. Time changes people and their environments, some circumstances beyond our control. You look back at those times with that person and you know are full of what ifs and hopes of rekindling what was lost. This can be a former partner or just a friend or family member. That theme and how our leads handle that eventual acceptance of where their lives have taken them is what makes the ending so powerful. It's not a romance movie about her choosing between her current husband and former crush. It's deeper and actually more relatable. She's happy where she is, but there's always that thought of what could have been. The film leaves you with a bit of a downer, but uplifting thought of there's always next life. Past Lives is beautifully directed, perfectly acted, earnestly written, and I encourage anyone to find the time and check it out.
Want you to stay. Want you to stay.
My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man. And things are going great.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be here at 5.
All right, whatever.
Whatever?
Wow.
Whatever?
Possibly the movie I was anticipating the most in all of 2023, Across the Spider-Verse is the sequel to the instant classic Into the Spider-Verse. The story does everything a proper sequel does. The characters are given more depth and new situations to grow. The animation leans more into the artistic side with even more forms of animation we haven't seen or thought of in this universe. The story builds off of what the original movie told and brings it to new extremes. New characters that add relationships and conflicts that leave room on the table to keep building off of. Everything in Across the Spider-Verse just ups the ante from the first film, even making a comedic villain like The Spot be hilarious and becomes the biggest threat you could ever imagine. The action scenes melding the different universes of Spideys, making for a visual feast for the eyes. The music is just as moving and catchy as before, but is this movie perfect? That's a tough question. Personally, to me, there isn't an issue that really stands out that bothers me to the point of deducting anything from my thoughts. Some people might not like how long it is, and the movie's pacing can sometimes feel like a roller coaster from the second act to the ending. A lot of moments that feel like they're building toward the final climax, big action set piece, then the movie keeps going to do it again. I knew going in it was a part 1 of 2, so the cliffhanger ending didn't bother me, only made me more excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. However, the sudden end seems to rub some people the wrong way. That's their feeling on it, but like I said, it was fine for me. Although I said I don't have a specific order of ranking this list, Across the Spider-Verse might be my number 1 of 2023.
We are supposed to be the good guys.
We are.
I'll do it.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay.
Who needs alcohol and drugs when you can summon spirits at high school parties? Talk to Me is a horror film that tells the story of a grieving high schooler who gets in too deep with contacting spirits with a mysterious embalmed hand. The direction is haunting, the scares are frightening, the story is deep, and the acting is on point. Talk to Me is a contender for Horror Movie of the Year for sure. The film relies heavily on symbolism and metaphors when using its supernatural elements, the title itself connected to the harms grief can cause. Opening up to communicate, the holding on to the dead as a way to speak to the spirits, the importance of not isolating yourself, to not indulge in substances, it's all there and really well made. A lot of horror movies lean in on the high school group of kids and play all the overdone and stupid tropes, but this film chooses to play it smart and have more relatable characters that are doomed by their naivete, and those who realize the ramifications have gone too far, play it safe, and remove themselves when they should. Talk to Me is a creative and creepy time to have, and I recommend any horror fan to check it out.
Like you.
I need you to be precise. Tell me everything.
Yes.
Anatomy of a Fall is a French legal drama about a husband's sudden death and the wife must find a way to prove her innocence, but it'll be an uphill battle with certain personal details becoming more public. This film is nothing short of tension-filled excellence. The acting done by our lead Sandra Huller is show-stealing. Her desperation mixed with her fear of the future, what she knows to be the truth, yet as the audience we don't see the death happen on screen, and that keeps us on our toes. You can read her performance in both innocent and guilty. The film by the end does seem to try and guide us toward an innocent verdict, but at no point does it say what actually happened. The emotional toll she and her son must go through, the son having his own journey of finding a way to rationalize not only his father's death, but if he can truly trust his mother. The build-up, the evidence, the drama, it's all combined perfectly.
I'm innocent, you know that, right?
Every year at Barton Academy, students, faculty, and staff depart the campus for a 2-week winter break. But there are always an unfortunate few who have nowhere to go for the holidays. They're known as the Holdovers.
Taking inspiration from the films and experiences of his childhood, Alexander Payne masterfully is able to recreate an authentic feel of a film from the 1970s in which The Holdovers is set in. if I didn't recognize the actors, I could have been fooled that it was a lost piece of media. The style of the film isn't even touching the surface of what the film has to offer. The setting of a boarding school, characters with their own reasons for being stuck with one another, and how their inner turmoils come out in their actions and reactions. Feelings of abandonment, non-fulfillment, grief, isolation, and inadequacy all play a factor in what originally keeps the group emotionally apart, but those walls come down and helps them heal together. The acting is genuine, and as our leads form a bond, you gain that sense of camaraderie with them. The highs and eventual lows that follow at times are what make the film feel like a true classic. It has that familiar sound and look that helps you enter a sense of nostalgia you may have not even been around to experience firsthand, but that warming and inviting feel is what will win you over, and that's not even adding the story itself that ties it all together, in a lovely little Christmas-themed bow.
You're gonna get me fired.
This is your Rubicon.
Do not cross
The Rubicon.
The Holdovers.
This is Bella. Bella, this is Mr. McCandles.
Hello, Bella.
Yorgos Lanthimos' imaginative ride of a flick, Poor Things, is an odyssey. Emphasis on the odd in all the best ways. A story about self-discovery, independence, and acceptance filled with the cast of colorful characters, even when they're in black and white. Emma Stone's Bella is a sympathetic and endearing lead, where the audience balances the reality she's surrounded by and the optimism she carries through some of her toughest times. And you forge a strong connection to her extremely quick. The movie is loaded with a hefty cast that help Bella traverse her journey in either positive or negative ways, and through that she's able to become her own person, deserving of not only Emma Stone's Best Actress award, but the ensemble of performances ranging from reserved to cartoonish with a side of depth. Not only are the actors putting in the work to make the piece stand out, but also the costumes, the set design, and the music all bring everything to mesh into what feels like a moving painting. You have the main house of Willem Dafoe's Dr. Godwin, the different fictionalized versions of European cities with a surreal steampunk architecture that's coated in beautiful splashes of colors that give this whimsical film a life of personality of its own that's reflected by Bella. Poor Things is an extravagant film that truly feels like one of a kind.
Oh.
Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
American Fiction is about an author who is tired of his books either being rejected or gaining no traction regardless of praise. In protest, he writes what would be considered a black book, full of stereotypes and cliches he feels are harmful and degrading to him and other fellow black people. Unfortunately for him, the book is an instant hit with publishers, and he's given crazy offers to sell it, and now is at war with his morals and his financial situation. On top of that happening, his family is hit with a lot of big changes, and that's how he and those close to him are able to adapt to their personal and collective shifts in life. Similarly to Poor Things, that focus on self-discovery, American Fiction focuses on rediscovery. Jeffrey Wright's Monk is a man who has been focused on his work and being his own person. He's lost touch with his mom and siblings on a level they have with each other. His isolation has made him realize how much he's missed, and the unresolved passive-aggressive tension that's laid dormant around certain things from their past. His lack of fully understanding of his family's personal struggles that come out in ways that he feels is immature, but unable to see his own solutions to problems as one either. The performances in American Fiction are genuinely up there with the best of all 2023. The mix of internal drama, but always able to crack a joke at the perfect time to give this film a real sense of humanity. American Fiction is a wonderful and grounding film that I recommend everyone to see.
There's already so much buzz because of the movie deal.
Michael B. Jordan is circling.
We want to put him on the cover in one of those scarves, I guess you would call them, tied around his head.
A do-rag?
Do-rag, that's it. Do-rag and a tank top with the muscles showing.
Somebody call the fire department.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
The Iron Claw is writer and director Sean Durkin's biopic about the legendary professional wrestling family, the Von Erichs. Most longtime fans of pro wrestling are familiar with the story of this infamous family and their curse. I don't want to say specifics of those who aren't aware, but I will say this is an emotionally exhausting film. As heartbreaking and downright depressing as the movie is, the glimmer of hope by the end might just get you through it. And as someone who knew the real life events going in, it makes those events an albatross during the viewing. But what about the quality of the film itself? When the credits were rolling, I already could feel this would be in my top 10, if not top 5 list. Masterwork and direction, getting a sense of foreboding even when the family seems like they're at their highest moments. The performances all around are amazing. Zac Efron playing the lead Von Erich, Kevin, as a family-centered man who wants to keep his parents and brothers together while trying to achieve his dream of becoming world heavyweight champion. The other brothers, Carrie, David, and Mike, all have their own unique relationships and places in said family, and that diverse set of relations and rivalries for some alongside their stern, emotionally abusive father is what keeps you entangled in this story. You want everyone to eventually find that comfort in each other and their lives, but as life goes on, the film continues, and that dream becomes harder and harder to hope for. I think this is a film about pro wrestling, but doesn't rely on you needing to know or even like it to get emotionally invested. So don't let that make you hesitate in watching this movie.
Honor will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
That concludes my list of favorite movies of 2023. I hope if there's any on the list you haven't seen yet, you decide to check them out. Next time, I'll be back with what feel like we're the bottom of the barrel of 2023. See you guys then. Or, I guess I won't see you. You'll see me. Unless you're listening to this audio only.